So, I don't know if I've ever spoken here. I first became acquainted with this mandir during Srila Prabhupada's centennial, because the team here was very, very instrumental in the success of our centennial endeavors. Of course, we didn't have this beautiful temple, I mean, how it is now. It was much simpler. And I first became acquainted with so many nice devotees here. Hare Krishna Prabhu was really quite involved in the centennial. Krishna Chandra, Srinathji, and of course Radhanath Swami gave us much encouragement and participation. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be with you again today. As Ekalavya mentioned, I am working with my friend and associate Gopal Bhatta Prabhu on a new project, ISKCON Online, something that we've been thinking about for many, many years. Tried to start something about 5 years ago, and then various circumstances didn't come together. Now it is starting to take shape. You can visit our website, iskononline.com, read about our mission. And I came here today specifically to speak with a few of the devotees who are helping us with this, associated with your temple, Gopinath Prasad Prabhu and Vijaya. So I do encourage you all to please visit the website, take a look at the mission, see if there's any place you might want to participate. It's a big world. The internet world is very big and very accessible. You can be anywhere in the world and you can take part. So I encourage you. I'm also on the International Committee for celebrating the 50th anniversary of ISKCON. So what is today? What is today? Who knows? What is the 50th anniversary of today? All right, let's read a little bit. What was yesterday? And what was the day before? Someone must know. Come on. The 17th of September. What was that? Ah, yes. He arrived in Boston. What happened yesterday? Very significant. Something very special happened yesterday. On the 18th of September, Srila Prabhupada wrote a poem. Did you sing it yesterday? Markine Bhagavat Dharma? We could have sung it today. Sing it. Read it. Very, very beautiful poem, really revealing Srila Prabhupada's heart. And it was his beginning. And then what happened today? On the 19th of September, where is he? New York City. He arrives in New York City. I'll tell you a little story. Actually, Ekalavya got a little wrong. I wasn't sent to Mayapur. I went to Mayapur, as devotees would do. This is the pilgrimage, the yearly festival. So I was managing the New York temple. I was actually at the time we were in between. Our president had left, and we were getting a new. New York often had the president of the temple was also the GBC, because anyway, for various reasons. So we were in between. Madhavisa Maharaj at the time was coming in as our new temple president. So as I had done the year before, I was going early to Mayapur to have some pilgrimage, have some association with Srila Prabhupada, and then come back just as the devotees from New York, the main group of devotees from New York would leave, and then I would be able to make sure everything was okay while they were away. So when I arrived in Mayapur, sometime few weeks, 2-3 weeks before the festival, I think it was, I was approached by one devotee and says, well, we're really short-handed. We need some help. Can you help? And during my service in ISKCON, I've had various managerial services, and including being temple commander. Right? So I have some experience bossing people around, and getting things done sometimes. Anyway, how it is. So anyhow, I got into it, and I was taking on different responsibilities. So by the time that the festival arrived, I had all these different responsibilities. And Bhavananda had been in New York earlier, maybe a year or so, the previous year. And so they asked me, can you stay? Can you just stay? I had no plans, although I had a little bit of, interest. Wouldn't it be nice to be closer to Srila Prabhupada? So anyway, Madhavisa arrives, and they ask him, he said, well, I'm just new, I'm just coming into this service, so I think we have to, I'd like to confer with Srila Prabhupada. So we come into Srila Prabhupada's room, and Srila Prabhupada said some things that I can't quite remember, but it was something like he must have heard some news. I don't remember what day it was, so I don't know. But something was going on in India that was typical Indian problems, shamasha, just something going on that just an indication of how this wonderful land of Bharat had just gone off the tracks. So he made some comment to the effect that we can't expect the whole world to become Krishna conscious, but there should be one ideal place. Jai Radha Gopinath. There should be one ideal place. And I understood him to mean Sri Mayapur. ISKCON, Sri Mayapur city, that should be an ideal place to show the world this is how we can live. This is how we can solve our material problems and develop our spiritual life together. So that was my initial inspiration. In any case, the conversation turned, and Madhavisa began by saying to Srila Prabhupada, we know that your Mayapur project is your most important project. And Srila Prabhupada stopped and said, no, New York is my most important project. Okay. We were just anyway, so that kind of, but in any case, the conversation went on, and how they were asked, and Srila Prabhupada had actually been encouraging, looking for people to come to Mayapur. After I came there, this was just before the festival, right after the festival, Srila Prabhupada, Jayapataka went to Prabhupada and said, well, we're really, and we were like totally short-handed. And Srila Prabhupada said, go to Vrindavan, you sit there, you make an announcement that anyone who wants to come can come and stay in Mayapur without the permission of their temple president. That was very revolutionary, because usually it was like, you could see, I had to go with your authority. You couldn't just pick up your, gumsha and say, okay, I'm going from New York and I'm going to go to the Boston temple. I don't like it here. I'm going to go to Boston. No, that was not allowed. That was very independent. That was Maya, real Maya, to think that you are just an independent guy who can just go wherever you want. No, you are a servant of ISKCON. We have a structure. We are like an army. You can't just desert your post and just go where you like. You have a service, you stay with it, and if you need or you feel like you have to change or do something, then you consult with your authorities, you work it out. That's the way we work. That's ISKCON. That's who we are. But this was a little critical situation, so the rules were suspended, and Jayapataka went to Vrindavan and picked up 23 different devotees. Bhakti Raghav Maharaj was one of them. Trying to remember a few. Not all. Nishtula was one of them. Vyapi. Different devotees. Anyway, and they ended up in Mayapur. So, just a little introduction. So New York. Prabhupada arrived today, 50 years ago. He arrived in New York City. Boston, he got to see a little bit. He came off the boat, but he came back on. He was still sheltered by India. It was an Indian boat. There was an Indian captain. He was still on the Jaladuta. But now, he's off. And he commented how he stepped off that boat, and what did he say? He commented, I didn't know to go right or to go left. A stranger in a strange land. And he stepped off. He was greeted by someone who had been sent by Mr. Agarwal, who then proceeded to take him to the Port Authority of New York. How many of you here have been at the Port Authority of New York bus terminal? No one? Quite a place. People rushing about. The buses are under in a basement, so it's all dark and dingy and just noise, and it's a pretty. I mean, New York is anyways a hustle and bustle place, and whatever Indians might have thought, oh, the streets are paved with gold. But no, they're not paved with gold in New York City. They're paved with mud, not mud, but oil. A lot of debris from the streets and the refuse of dogs here and there, and just garbage. It's cleaner today than it was in the 65. But anyway, he stepped off that boat. He proceeded to this little town in Pennsylvania, Butler, Pennsylvania. It took him all night. Apparently he arrived tomorrow. So tomorrow I encourage you all, this is the 50th anniversary. Every day there's something 50th sometimes it's a big highlight, sometimes it's maybe a small thing. Take advantage. I don't know who organizes, but maybe take a few minutes of your Bhagavatam class to just remember what happened today, 50 years ago. So today, 50 years ago, Srila Prabhupada arrived in New York. And the whole Leela took a new chapter. In Leelamrita, this is another chapter, right? The previous chapter was the journey. Now it begins. Now the movement begins. It begins with his arrival in Butler, feeling the ground. His first preaching engagement is in Butler, Pennsylvania. He's figuring it out. And it's September 65. By July the next year, we have the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So I hope all of you are making your plans how to participate in the celebration of the 50th anniversary. So, enough remembrance. We do have to read our verse for today. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we'll read quickly, maybe because we have little time. I'm just noting the time is quite gone. I'll just read, instead of repeating the verse, I'll read the Sanskrit and translation, and we'll just do that, because we also need to talk about Lalita. So, with your permission, this is text 42 and 43. Jalayanam ivagunam gangayam nagaram patat akshikshamanam alokya kurava jata sambramaha tameva sharanam jagmu sakatumba jijivishavaha salakshmanam puraskritya shambam pranjalaya prabhum. Jalayanam, a raft. Eva, as if, Agurnam, tumbling about, Gangayam, into the Ganges, Nagaram, the city, Patat, falling, Akrishyamanam, being dragged, Alokya, seeing, Kaurava, the Kauravas, Jata, becoming, Sambrama, excited and bewildered, Tam, to him, Lord Balaram, Eva, indeed, Sharanam, for shelter, Jagmuhu, they went, Sa, with Kutamba, their families, Devi, Jijivishavaha, wanting to remain alive, Sa, with Lakshmana, Purakritya, placing in front Shambam, Samba, Pranjalayaha, with palms joined in supplication, Prabhu, to the Lord. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Seeing that their city was tumbling about like a raft at sea as it was being dragged away, and that it was about to fall into the Ganges, the Kauravas became terrified. To save their lives, they approached the Lord for shelter, taking their families with them. Placing Shamba and Lakshmana in front, they joined their palms in supplication. Purport. The city of Hastinapura began to roll about like a raft in a stormy sea. The frightened Kauravas, to quickly appease the Lord, immediately brought Shamba and Lakshmana and placed them in front. Om Agyanattamrandasya Gyananjana Shakaya Chakshmalitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurve Namaha Mukham Karoti Vachalam Gvangalaya Ratripatamaham Vande Shri Gurun A short purport. So I'll speak just a little bit about this pastime, and then we can discuss something of Lalita Devi. So, this is the turning point. Balaram went with all good intention to solve the problem. But he was met with arrogance. He was met with disrespect. He was met with the root of all the problems to come. This is just a little one more step towards Kurukshetra. Step by step. By this time, as far as I know, maybe someone who's more familiar with Krishna Lila, has Jarasandha been vanquished already? Or is he yet to be taken care of? Who knows? Is Jarasandha gone? I don't think Shalva is gone yet, because Shalva is here, right? So Shalva is still in the scene. But Jarasandha, I think, has already been... Oh no, he's still yet to... Who knows? Anyway, whatever. The real terrible guys that Krishna, when he comes, who's the enemy? At that time, it's not Duryodhana, and these are brothers. They're all family. There's no problem with them. The problem was Kamsa and Jarasandha and Shalva and what is it, Kalani? These are the guys who are who are just terrifying. The whole Jarasandha was the big guy. It's not the Pandavas or the Kauravas. They're not yet, powerful. It's Jarasandha who's the power. And one by one, Krishna has been taking care of these. And now he's in Dwarka. But that chapter is maybe winding down, but the new chapter is beginning. The chapter that leads to the final cleansing, the battle of Kurukshetra. So here's starting this insult of the what do you call the not treachery, but the intrigue. Yes, intrigue. Because the Pandavas were already, they've please correct me, my memory is not very good, but as far as I can piece together in my mind, the Pandavas are now in Hastinapur, not in Indraprastha. The Kauravas are in Hastinapur, and they've already had their period of exile, right? The Pandavas, they were already, that's gone. Now the next thing is Draupadi's, that Leela. Isn't it correct? Right? Because Hastinapur, they built Indraprastha after coming back from exile, isn't it? Not from exile, but from escape. When they escaped the house of lack, not exile, but when they escaped the house of lack, then they were in hiding. Then they finally, with the marriage of Draupadi, they confront. Then everything's revealed, and now they've built Indraprastha, and they're so the first part of the intrigue, the first part of the seeds of all of this that leads to Kurukshetra was laid when the house of lack was burned up and they had to escape. The next part is yet to come with the dice match. So in between, now we have this hint of, again, this attitude, this mentality that has polluted the Kaurava dynasty. This mentality of extreme pride. Such pride. Such arrogance. And then what happens? Their lives are threatened, and all of a sudden now they're all humble and they're submissive and, oh, please save us. But how long is it going to last? We know it's not going to last very long. Again, there'll be another incident. ultimately, because this cancer, this cancer of pride is in them. And they're doing nothing to really root it out. The cancer of false pride, of thinking that we are anything. It's so rooted in our hearts. And it doesn't matter who we are, there'll be something that we're proud of. What is it? The English saying, even the pauper is proud of his penny. I don't know if there's a Hindi version of that. Yeah? I have my penny. But to speak of when we have little more than a penny, we have something. And especially we're devotees, we've been blessed very often. We might have gotten a nice birth, and here you are all in Bharat, so you have something really deeply proud. You're Bharat Varsh, you're Indians. You have caste, you have all kinds of things. I didn't have any of that. But still, whatever I had, okay, I'm proud of it. Oh, my father was a great scientist. Very proud. He was, actually. So it gives me some pride. And if we think, this is me, this bewilderment, this maya, will lead to all kinds of offenses. And that's what's happened here. Their pride in being the emperors and so on. They think, and they get to they insult Krishna to the point where they and not really heavy insult. Oh, the shoe is sinking; it is the head and the crown. What an insult! The shoe is sinking; it is now the crown. You can imagine Balaram. You can imagine, and we've just heard, Bhagavatam is trying to describe his fury to hear Krishna being insulted in such a low, degraded way. Every idea, we'll do some nice peaceful negotiation here and sort this out the window, totally, no more, take my plow, destroy that, you're dead, you're finished. That's it, gone, no more Kauravas, it's it. You can imagine the depth of his rage to hear Krishna being insulted in such a low way by these puny Kauravas. Oh, the gloves are off, so to speak. The plow is out. The city is being pulled to the Ganges. And it's stated somewhere here, later on, that Balaram said, okay, finish them up, but not some. Take care, don't kill some. Somebody's, save him. And then the Kauravas wake up. Oh, well, what we do here? And they plead, no, please. Balaram, okay, it's not yet time. There's more to come. This is not the time for the Kauravas to meet their end. All right. And he releases his anger. And he releases his plow. And he takes Samba. And now everything has changed. Duryodhana is showering gifts, and it's a whole new scene. This is the way of the Leela of the Lord. And today we celebrate one of the chief architects of Krishna Leela, Srimati Lalita Devi. Who, by her expertise, builds the loving affair of Radha and Krishna to ever and ever greater heights. She has just the perfect capacity to see how to bring about sweet love, how to bring out intense loving emotion. She knows it's not to bring out that intensity. You can't just bring the couple together and then just, all right. No, that's not going to work. Has to be a little drama. If there's no drama, it's like a pendulum. If you want, or a motor car, I mean, we know motor cars, right? So how does the motor car work? The piston goes up and then boom, goes down, and then vroom, goes back up, and boom, down, boom, 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 up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and then spinning, 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 and it goes faster and faster. So the interaction between Radha and Krishna has this Samboga and Vipralamba, this coming and going, and so there's that aspect, the aspect of togetherness and then separation. But Lalita brings about this other part, this adoration and anger. Adoration and we have so many pastimes. Perhaps one of the most famous of these pastimes where Lalita gets this going is the Dhanakeli Leela. Most of you, I'm sure you're all fairly familiar with it. Have visited, probably, the Sankori Pat in Varshana. How many have been there? Quite a few. And if you see the picture, it's a very narrow place, just perfect for this, for Krishna to play his tricks. And as we know, Krishna and the cowherd boys, because the Radharani and the Sakis would be coming to carry their yogurt and different products, and they'd have to get across the hill. So there's this little passage, little ravine, quite narrow, that goes between the Brahmagiri and what's the name of the giri that Sri Mandir is on? Anyway, there's two. There's the Brahmagiri and this other, where Man Mandir is. So it's a very narrow little way, and so perfect setup. You don't, just no way to get out. You have to go back or stop. Right? So Krishna and his friends, they played this game every day. They were doing this. Yeah. Okay, now I want tax collector. I'm going to take your You can't pass without giving me some tax. And this way they would steal butter, yogurt, everything from the... So one day, this is the way I've heard the story, I hope that, I don't know, maybe there's different versions, but so Lalita, she's had enough of this. So she makes a plan. She says, okay, this day we are all going to go in advance and we're going to hide ourselves in the little caves and nooks there. And then when Krishna tries his trick, we'll teach him a lesson. So one band of gopis comes and Krishna and his friends, they accost him, and then all of a sudden these hundreds of Shakis come out of the mountains and attack them and bind them up and tie them to trees. And so many things happen after that, which I don't remember. But ultimately, it all evolves into a play between Radharani and Krishna that evokes Krishna's submission to Radharani, Radharani's lording it over of Krishna. And in this way, Lalita engineers this varieties, these tastes, these mellows of loving exchange that always end up sublime. Now, my good friend Ekalavya mentioned that I have the good fortune of having a very wonderful wife who we've been married for 35 years. And any of you who have been married or are married know that there is sometimes disagreement amongst couples. And you know that can often end in some fighting, some argument. And the resolution of that comes about when the couple recognize that their love is more important than whatever they're arguing about. And even in our, as I said, even in our mundane life, we find that the resolution of argument, the resolution of tension with love, when we get through an argument or a disagreement, and we get through it on the basis of finding love, that love is greater, it's higher. Even amongst us as devotees, we may have some disagreement. And we may, of course, you can also sort out a disagreement through logic, by debate. And we see in Lalita will engage Krishna and Radharani in debate, and they'll say, well, but I'm the son of Nanda Maharaj, but I'm the daughter of Rishabhanu, and it goes back and forth, and who's really qualified to take the tax, and it goes back and forth in a sort of a debate. So we may solve sometimes our disagreements through debate, and say, okay, all right, I agree, you're right. You got me there. You won. All right, I have to agree. But in our hearts, I was right, but I just couldn't find the right argument to defeat my opponent. Right? But actually, it was right. But when we overcome our disagreement because of love, because we find that the most important thing is our relationship, and we come together thinking that whatever we may have in differences of opinion, we all are together in one cause, the service of Krishna. then that becomes a impetus to build our capacity, our loving capacity. Of course, you know, what we experience here in the material world is just a mere shadow of spiritual life. But it is a little reflection. So we can see, we can begin to understand a little bit of the Leela of Krishna through our experience in this world. And when we see the activities of Lalita Devi, how she so expertly arranges. I'm hoping I can get this. This is something I read today, just that I think helps us really get an idea of the. Let's see if it comes through here. It's in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya 1:154. Is there a book handy, maybe? I mean, hopefully this will get through here. Okay. All right. Well, I'll just read this. This is probably good enough. This is a verse from Vidagdha Madhava by Lalita. Okay. Our hearts are so polluted by miserable conditions that we are certainly going to Pluto's kingdom. He's Yamaraj, I think. Nevertheless, Krishna does not give up his beautiful, loving smiling, which is full of cheating tricks. Oh, Srimati Radharani, you are very intelligent. How could you have developed such great loving affection for this deceitful debaucher from the neighborhood of the cowherds? So you can see from this is one example of how Lalita encourages the loving sentiment of Radharani, which is Parikiya Bhav, where the love is despite. She loves Krishna despite all the reasons she shouldn't love him. The first reason is she's already married. She's not supposed to have a lover. So that's to begin with. Throw that aside. What did we hear? The Kankani, what is it? Where the Kankani or Lalita addresses Radharani as unchaste. So that's the first thing. But then Lalita finds all kinds of reasons. Why do you love this Krishna? He's always doing this, he's doing that, he's just... And what is the result in Radharani? It's like it feeds her love even more. It feeds this. It's like the forbidden fruit is even more sweet. We have the perverted reflection of this in so many mundane affairs, where out of lust, people run after illicit sexual activity. And the more illicit sometimes, the more attracted. This is in the In the mundane world, this is the source of sin. But the opposite is there in the spiritual world. So now we're reminded by my wife that I'm actually out of time. It is 9:25. So I'll just read one more statement from Lalita. This is 144. Well, I'll just read this because this leads us now to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because we're just reading from Vidagdha Madhava, but I'll read this last thing and then we'll stop. May the Supreme Lord, who is known as the son of Srimati Sachi Devi, be transcendently situated in the innermost core of your heart. Resplendent with the radiance of molten gold, he has descended in the age of Kali by his causeless mercy to bestow what no incarnation has ever offered before, the most elevated mellow of devotional service, the mellow of conjugal love. Anarpita chirim chirat kanunaya vatirnaya kalo samarpayatum unnattojvala rasam swabhakti sriyam hari purata sundara jyuti kadamba sandipitaha shada hridaya kandare suratu va sachinandanaha. By the grace of Lalita Devi, who appears in Gauranga Leela as Swarup Damodar, we may get entrance to the Leela of Krishna. She is the guardian. She is standing. Only that which will enhance the love of Srimati Radha and Shri Krishna can enter. So we pray that somehow we can become the servant of the servant of the servant. Dasa, 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 anudasa, gopi parta pada kamalayor. Dasa, 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 anudas. The servant of 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 Srimati Lalita Devi. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. I don't think we'll take time for comments and questions because it's 9:30. You're supposed to end at 9:15. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Hare Bol.